Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this special legal compliance COVIDSafe update run by Kaizen Synergy Law Firm. My name is Nihal Samara. I'm the General Counsel and Legal Director of the law firm Kaizen Synergy, and I'd like to welcome you all to today's session. This session is a fairly succinct session where we are going to stick to what you really need to know about and where and what is currently going on in Victoria at the moment. We have been in lockdown in Victoria since Friday 11 midnight last week, and as part of that, we are in what they're calling a 5-day circuit breaker lockdown. Either way, there are a number of legal compliance obligations that you need to know about, and we're going to cover those off today. As always, we'd like to pay our respects to the elders past and present upon the lands on which we all meet. While this session is being run by webinar and recorded, we do pay our respects to the traditional owners accordingly. Now, there has been some confusion and questions being asked around the directions from the Chief Health Officer and the ministerial document around the Stay Safe directions. Essentially, what the latest directions from the Chief Health Officer is in Victoria is that we are in a 5-day lockdown period. However, as you will see down the bottom of this document, what people have started to raise questions on is the Stay Safe period, part 4, where it actually states for the purposes of these directions, the Stay Safe period and ending at 11:59 on 26th of February 2021. So while the directions are written until the end of the current state of emergency period, this is not always the case, and it is really there to provide the flexibility from a legal point of view in an event that we needed to extend this on to a further date as well too. So that's where the explanation is around the Stay Safe directions. That said, we're not going to be lost in the politics of the discussions around this, but what we are just going to look at is what are the current rules that your agency and your staff need to follow and be aware about. We're also going to look at the travel restrictions. There are questions on, do we need to have the travel permits, and what about interstate travel as well too? And we're also going to touch on contact tracing as well too, and the need for your agency to continue this and also identify what your obligations are, also from a work health and safety perspective, not just from a public health law requirements as well. So essentially what we're seeing, and we've taken this information directly from the department's website, and you can see this information here as well too. And let me just bring this information up for you to be able to see as well. So essentially, there are a number of points that you need to be across. Firstly, and we've seen these a lot on the news, but we are going to cover these to ensure completeness of this legal compliance update presentation. Firstly, you cannot leave home unless you're doing it for one of the following 4 reasons, and we've seen this over 2020. That is for shopping for necessary goods and services, care and caregiving, exercise, and permitted work as well too. You must stay within 5 kilometres of your home. This limit does not apply to work or when giving or receiving care. And you can leave your home in an emergency or if there is family violence as well too. Face masks will need to be worn indoors and outdoors whenever you leave home, and I will cover also the requirements for workplaces importantly as well. If you do need to leave home, you must wear a face mask unless you have a lawful reason for not doing so. Always washing hands before you leave and when you return home, keeping at least 1.5 metres between yourself and others. Now, in relation to travel permits, as we move from home to our workplaces or the likes, like we had last year, there are questions on, are travel permits required like we had last year? At this stage, the answer is no. Travel permits are not required. although we have had conversations with a number of agencies this morning. You would have seen this in my email updates that we've sent around as well, and over the weekends, where it has been decided that in order to give staff peace of mind, some agencies have taken it upon themselves to actually issue travel permits again, similar to what we saw last year in Victoria. And this is really from a peace of mind point of view as well too, in the event that staff do get stopped. Now, businesses are required to reduce the movement of workers where possible. So that is, where possible, people should be working from home. Operations that need support, for example, goods and services that may continue as they are critical for Victoria and the national supply chains, can continue to operate. However, businesses in some community services should actually look at their workforce and are encouraged to restrict operations to what is actually essential. Now, if my workplace is an essential workplace provider or I am a permitted worker, can I go to my workplace? And in short, the answer is yes. But where you can and you can work from home, then you are encouraged to do so. Now, in that sense, also, if you do need to perform emergency maintenance or ensure premises are closed safely, you can work from home. You can leave your home in order to do this work as well. Now, one of the questions that has come up certainly over this weekend is looking at social distancing within the workplace and also the use of face masks within the workplace itself. So there is a density quotient of 1 person per 4 square meters, and this applies in all premises and spaces accessible to the public. So it's not just in office spaces, but in community health centres, for example, where you may have clients coming in and out of shared spaces like waiting rooms, then certainly 4 square meter rules apply. And this also is in closed workspaces such as lunchrooms and office spaces as well. A density quotient is the number of people permitted in each workspace. So it is designed to support physical distancing. And we also talk of minimizing close contact between people to minimize the risk of COVID-19. And we've seen this over the past 12 months. Now, the other questions that people have is, do workplaces permitted to operate under current restrictions require a high-risk COVID-safe plan? And the answer is no. All Victorian businesses continue to require a standard COVID-safe plan that they have in place. Now, just to show you what one looks like, and we have had so many questions around this as well too, is that in your Gemba dashboard, there is and are templates that you can access around this as well too. And if you log in and you go to your screen here, you can see the disaster module is located in the middle. You can click on the option for projects, and we've divided it up for agencies, COVIDSafe Plan 1, 2, and 3, and you can simply click on open and it will bring up the relevant COVIDSafe plans for your state or territory. And we have included specific action items based on what your agency requires. And that also includes, for example, documents that you may need, for example, checklists and QR codes that you can use as well too. And that is essentially located for agencies using the Gemba 360 dashboard in the disaster module, and that is open for yourselves to have as a reference site as well. So with it, one of the other questions that people then lead into is, am I required to wear a mask at work? And yes, workers must wear a face mask when leaving the home, including in the workplace, unless a lawful reason not to wear one and an exemption applies. And that's important for you to be aware about. We have been asked, in the event that staff do not have a mask, should the workplace supply it? And the short answer that we have been taking on this is yes, to take the disposable face mask. While it is an obligation for employees to have one, workplaces should be looking at supplying this both from a work health and safety point of view. If you can't, then you should be asking them to return home, because it is a mandatory requirement from the point that people are actually leaving home as well too. Now, one of the other areas that we have got a lot of queries on is around the QR codes and check-in workflows. This continues to apply, and it's also very important during this lockdown phase for contact tracing, and we are just going to cover this off briefly again. Now, in terms of why doing it, the QR codes is an important public health and work health and safety reporting point of view, and also contact tracing needs for your agency. In saying that, it should be easy to use in terms of its functionality, and it's there to cover yourselves both from a contact tracing point of view to ensure that clients and staff are kept safe, and to also use it for purely your contact tracing as well that we've seen. Now, we have used this in the past to demonstrate this for agencies. And quite simply, a lot of agencies have asked us, what if we can't use QR codes, or that our clients are not IT savvy is the word that they're using? Then in that case, continue to use your attendance registers, because this does serve the purpose. And you can see how this works up here. For those of you that want to use the QR codes, Gemba 360 has these and has been supplying these to agencies to use. And an example of this, just in summary, and I'll just bring this up, is what we have actually used, and I'll show you a Word version of this, is for Women's Housing Limited, where they have their contact tracing, and they've actually used this, and you can use this as a template for your signage as well. Now, how this essentially works, and we've been asked questions around this, is quite simple. And I will actually bring this up and show you this live on my mobile phone to essentially use this for you as well. So essentially the way the QR codes work is like this. Essentially what you can do is bring this up, and I'll just show you this here on it. You can scan your QR code directly itself. And how this works is really quite straightforward. You can use your phone to actually scan the QR code in front of you. How this works is that once you've done that, you can then bring up your device itself for people to view. And essentially what they are able to do is then look at their own QR code itself around this. Now, how this works, quite simply, you can do it on your mobile. You can take a photo of your device, you can use it on your device, and essentially what you're able to view is the item that you can then see in front of you directly. This then feeds directly from your phone directly into your Gemba dashboard, and you have the ability to actually contact trace directly from there. And let me just show you how this works with one of the agencies, being Women's Housing, and what they can actually see on their forms that they then have. So showing this on the dashboard site, and I'll just bring this up here for you, is your Gemba dashboard, and just wait for your screen to catch up around this. Is that they have their own contact tracing site that they can essentially use. And what you have here is the contact tracing icon, and you can then feed that directly back into your dashboard. And it is as simple and as easy as that to use. So how it works, essentially, they have their QR codes, they can scan it, they place it on their doors and windows into the entrance of the premises, and essentially they're able to screen it. Now, the major difference between this and the department's one is that you're able to see all this information directly at hand, and this is ours that you can see. What you're able to do is verify the data in real time and access this information and view it. Now, we do ask people to actually see, as part of the recommendations, is to review your policies, notify staff of any changes that you have, review your attendance and work plans, and if you have any questions, please contact our law firm that you might have. And so from here, if you do have any questions, please contact our law firm directly. You've got our contact details here, or my mobile number is also listed on the screen in front of you as well too. We will open up the phone lines for any questions that people might have. If you are watching this recording and you have any further questions, please contact us on our 1300 360 360 number or email us at support. Thank you for joining us this morning. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you next time at our legal compliance webinars. Bye for now.